The concept of this build is to maximize the damage you can do with your heavy R2 attack attacking from ranged, and when enemies do get close up, you have the option for really good damage, whether it's from Ashes of War or simply just attacking normally. This is a fun hybrid between being a good old bonk build with a little flair of ranged as well. Add in some cold burst and you have a really fun versatile build that does a lot of damage against pretty much any enemy you're gonna fight. Let's talk about stats. Of course, I'm level 150. I have 50 vigor in order to stay alive. Mind is 20 because I like having a little bit of extra FP if I want to use any Ashes of War as needed. Endurance I have 21 because this will give me just enough endurance in order to use the armor set that I want with the weapon while maintaining medium load, so I'd have medium rolls and not heavy. Dexterity is base, I did not increase that at all. Intelligence is 28, just so I can have a little bit of extra intelligence scaling since I am going to be using a cold infusion on this weapon. And my scaling for faith is 33 in order to make sure I do have enough faith to cast all the spells that I want for the buffs that I need. Of course, the weapon of choice is the Smitchscript Great Hammer. I decided to have this as cold because this will give you strength scaling at B at max level, which is nice because this normally only has strength scaling at C. It makes your intelligence go up to D, and it gives you 127 frost buildup. And because you can hit enemies multiple times with your R2 if using it in point blank range, the frost buildup is actually quite easy to obtain. Let's talk about talismans that are required. The two-handed sword talisman, pretty self-explanatory. This will give you damage for your two-handed weapon when you decide to two-hand it, which you should be doing pretty much at all times when attacking. Axe talisman enhances your charge attacks. Who doesn't like extra damage on your big heavy throw? I certainly do. And the smithing talisman, this enhances weapon thrown attacks, which is your R2 charge attack, so this will stack with the axe talisman. Now, there is going to be a fourth optional talisman that you can utilize as you wish, but here are my recommendations. For build one that doesn't have a lot of downside, you're going to be using the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. This will give you a massive attack increase after completely hitting with every single R2 attack. If you charge R2 and hit every single hit, this will proc giving you even more damage. Now, if you prefer to have even more damage than that, then you will want to use Age 1's Exaltation. Of course, you can see where I'm going here with Madness. This will give you 20% increased attack power after using Madness in the area. Combine that with some of the spells that we're going to be utilizing for this build, and you are guaranteed to get some massive damage. Before we continue, if you're a fan of Fashion Souls or Elden Bling, I'm hosting a DLC contest where you can show off your fashion against others for a chance for prizes like Steam gift cards and more. Link in the description down below on how you can submit, rules, and everything else. Speaking of those spells, the spells we're going to be utilizing today, of course, are the go-to buff spells. They are Howl al Shabiri. You want to use this until you get Madness on yourself in order to make sure you get the buff if you do want to use the Exaltation Talisman. This requires 33 faith. Golden Veil to increase the attack and defense for yourself and any allies in the nearby area. And Flame, grant me strength, giving you even more attack damage. All of these combined together to give you a ton of additional AR. Take a look at my stats now. I'm at 3,207 for my attack, which is crazy because that doesn't take into account all the bonuses that you don't see on screen, just for the heavy R2 attack, which is very, very nice. When it comes to your armor choices, I like using the Rakasha armor because this will give you a damage increase for every piece that you wear. It's 2% per piece. Of course, if you do use the Madness Talisman we talked about, then the helm you would want to use instead is going to be the Black Dumpling, as this will give you additional 10% damage increase for your attack power after Madness in the area. If you prefer not to use any of these armor pieces because they do have downsides of making you take increased damage, then use whatever armor that you want, but do keep in mind the amount of endurance I have is just enough to use the entire Rakasha set with one seal and the weapon without having any heavy load on the character. When we talk about the Physick tier, there's going to be one that is required, the Spiked Cracked tier. This is pretty self-explanatory. This will enhance charge attacks for a period of time after drinking this. This will stack with all the other talismans we talked about to make sure our heavy R2 hits as hard as it possibly can. The second tier is going to be up to you, but I recommend the blood sucking cracked tier if you want maximum damage. This will give you a 20% attack power increase. However, the downside is your HP will slowly drain. If you prefer not to use this, feel free to use any other tier that you want. It's going to be up to you. The Smitchscript hammer, taking a look at its moveset, what's really special is the fact that you can hold the R2 and do that heavy swing. It has a very far range. If you run and hit your R2 or your heavy attack, it will throw the weapon, which is very nice. Everything else with this weapon is pretty much the same when it comes to all great hammers. Pretty much the same moveset. Your heavy attacks are what's really different here. Keep in mind, you cannot throw the weapon in the air. I tested it multiple times. There's no way to throw it, unlike the Smitchscript backblades that can be thrown in the air. However, the range on this Smitchscript hammer is much further than all the other Smitchscript weapons. The Ash of War is going to be up to you. However, I like using the Savage Lion's Claw. This is a great Ash of War that will allow you to do really big bursts because you can follow it up with another attack afterwards. The Smitchscript hammer can be found here on the map that's Ruin Forged. It's pretty easy to find. I can't imagine anyone would miss it when you go inside here. Do keep in mind, however, in order to get here, it is a little bit of a journey. On my map, you can see this little water area here. There is a tunnel you need to go through in this area. This will take you right out to this grace right here. Then simply head north and you're at the Ruin Forge. The new Madness Talisman is marked here on my map at number 5. There is a very strong NPC you have to kill in order to get this. The NPC is immune to all damage and you have to parry its attack in order to make it vulnerable. Once you parry it, you can attack at will and it will die. The two-handed talisman is found here at the Temple Town Ruins. If you already went up to get the Ruined Forge right here for the weapon itself, simply head south and you can come down here. Keep in mind, when you go to the treasure chest, there is a strong NPC guarding it. However, you can simply run past him and you will be good to go. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm Ronan. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the build, definitely comment down below and let me know. If you enjoy this build and you want to see more in the future, definitely let me know as well. And if there's any specific weapons that you want to see, I'll try to make one for you. Reminder, I am hosting an Elden Bling Bastion Souls contest to celebrate the DLC Shadow of the Erdtree. So if you want to show off the way your character looks against other people, have a chance for prizes like Steam gift cards and more, then definitely check out the link in the description down below. I'm Ronan, and I'll see you next time. Take care.